Want to know how I managed to change from drinking lattes with sugar each day to black coffee? And stay and watch this video on how I did it. Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. If you like this video, please click on the subscribe button if you haven't already. Today we're going to talk about intermittent fasting and black coffee, and I'll leave links below that explain Fast 800 and fasting. Essentially, if you're a morning coffee drinker and want to fast, then you need to work out how to switch to black coffee. So this is how I used to have my coffee. Instant, a big nice teaspoon of sugar, and then a huge amount of milk. I used to froth it up a little bit. Delightful. Now I preferred proper coffee at a cafe, but when I was home, that was what I went for. So that way of making coffee obviously doesn't work for Fast 800, and I realised black coffee is the end result. But trying to make black coffee from what I had, it was just too much of a jump. So the first thing I did was reduce the number of sugar. So I just went about half a teaspoon of sugar, and I tried that first. Still having the same amount of milk, because I figured the sugar is probably worse for me health result. Run out of hot stuff, but anyway, worse for me than all of the milk. Like, milk's more calorific, but I figured sugar is probably worse for your health. So that was the first thing I tackled. And what I noticed with this type of coffee, reducing the sugar, doesn't taste so great. So I thought I probably need to change the quality of the coffee. So out with this and in with this. And I like to buy beans because they last a bit longer and it's a bit fresher. So you can buy loads of different types of beans. It's quite fun working out what's the best. So I buy this one quite regularly, and also buy an ethical one that you can buy at most supermarkets, and I'll leave a link below. And then I got this little nifty guy, and you just pop the beans in, hold this down, and it blitzes all of your coffee. So it takes about 30 seconds, and there you go. There are loads of machines that you can use that are super easy and just put little pods in, but I find the coffee of those aren't as great, and also not so great for the environment. So instead I went old school and I use this guy. So just pop some coffee in there and some water in there and pop it in the stove, and it's as easy as that. So that was the next step, is improving the type of coffee I had. So I went from 1 sugar and half a cup of milk to no sugar and half a cup of milk using this method. So still loads of milk, but at least I cut out the sugar, and it actually only took me just over a week to cut out the sugar, which isn't too long considering I had sugar in my coffee for such a long time. And then obviously the next step was to cut out the milk. So again, what I did, like I did with sugar, is I just reduced the amount of milk I had. So I went from half a cup to a quarter of a cup. And for me, that actually was quite easy. And on non-fast days, this is how I have my coffee. So when you have decent coffee, it's actually not too bad to do. So how do you go from this to this? So as those who are doing Fast 800, you know that it encourages you to do intermittent fasting, which means that you need to have this guy if you don't want to have any calories until lunchtime. After which you can have this one, because obviously it's got some calories, but not too many. It's probably got about 20 or 30 calories. So you don't want to have too many, but you can't really have a quarter of a cup of milk when you're trying to fast. I'll leave a link up above and below for the intermittent fasting piece so you understand why you do that. But how do you go from here to here? So I found when I was using real coffee, so this guy, it actually became a bit too powerful, and if I used your regular instant coffee, it tasted too gross. But I found something in the middle, and I've been testing everything that's on the market that I could find easily in the UK, and I've actually went back to instant coffee for when I want to have this guy. For those of you who have seen one of my videos before, particularly what I ate in a day or what to drink on a fast 800, you will not be surprised to see this. So this is my favourite coffee for black coffee. So it's so I've done full circle. I started with really cheap instant coffee, went to expensive beans, and now when I do a fast day, I've gone back to instant. So I appreciate that. But this is what works for me. So you may find that coffee beans is the only way to go when you're getting black coffee. Totally fine. But for me, I found it just that little bit too strong and bitter. So I tried out these guys. They've got about, 20 different flavours. And I've tried a few, as you can see. These ones I didn't get too excited about, but this one I'm excited about. So this one I use pretty much every time I drink a black coffee. And it didn't take me too long to get used to it, and I really, really like it. So it's just 1 heaped teaspoon and then water, and that's it. And it's about 4 calories, which is fine. So this is what I use on a fast day. But I did try some other things. One of the best ones I found taste-wise was this. So this one is ground coffee, so you need to use it in the stovetop machine. They're not beans, so you have to store them in the fridge. It's a bit pricey, as you can see. It's quite the name brand. So this one is, I think it was about £10. So quite expensive, quite a luxury. The smell, it is unbelievable. It smells so amazing. I appreciate you can't smell it. I can, and it's just, you just want to eat it. It is so delicious. It is 13 calories. So it is pushing it a bit. So generally, I would use this one in the afternoon if I want to have a coffee in the afternoon and I don't want to drink all my calories. So I'd skip the milk and I would just have this one. As I said, it's quite the luxury. This one is much better price. It's about £2, and this is £10. So yeah, quite the difference. There was another one on the market. This one, I just bought these little sachets to test them out. Beanies. So they also have a ridiculous number of flavours. I personally haven't found one I liked yet, so but it is quite nice that you can buy all these different types to test them out, because buying one of these, if you don't like it, it's quite a waste. Thankfully my husband doesn't care too much about coffee. He's not a coffee snob, put it that way, so anything I don't like he'll happily drink, so there's no waste. But this is quite a nice way of testing stuff out. And then once if you find one that you like, then you can buy a big container like that one. But I haven't found one I like yet. So for me, I'm going to stick with this guy in the afternoon. Probably not every day because of the price, but this is my one. So that's how I've switched from sugar, half a cup of milk, coffee, to a black coffee during intermittent fasting. So it's quite good testing it. There's so much choice out there. I'll leave links below to the ones that I like. But that's how I did it, and hopefully you found that useful.